All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Yellow Card Podcast. Your weekly episodes loading out right here, right now. Your host, as always, Diego the DJ, co-host Chris Jones. Jonesy, how we doing this weekend? How we doing overall?
Doing all right, doing all right. No complaints on the front.
Well, you shouldn't be complaining either. Boy himself, personal good news, riding on a brand new Ford Whip, hitting the mean streets of Boston around. So if you see a beautiful Ford, a black Ford hitting the mean streets of Boston, get out of the way. You hit that car, you're kind of owning some major money there. Um, Congratulations to Mr. Jones on the brand new whip. Congratulations, starting 2023 in the right note. Um, World Cup, baby. World Cup. We got nothing else to talk about today but World Cup and maybe a couple potential January transfer window news that we're hearing here. And some updates that we're hearing as well. Yes, sir.
Before we dive into the World Cup,
Yeah.
I think we should be talking about what has transpired so far.
Well, let's not spoil it. Let's not spoil it. Getting a little ahead of ourselves here. So we got what's going on in the World Cup right now, what's transpired so far. Got some January transfer window news to unload as well. So updates as well going on national levels across the world. And we got the semifinals for the World Cup coming up as well. Some predictions as well to unload. So we got a full slate of things here to talk to you about today. It is Monday night, December 12th, 9:05 here in the evening. We got World Cup action happening tomorrow and on Wednesday. That's both semifinals are scheduled for middle of the week action. A lot has transpired though in the World Cup. So let's take on season 2, episode 8, starting right now. Yellow Card Podcast presented to you by the two of us, Jones and Diego. So let's get it going. What has transpired so far? Boy, what hasn't? We got a massive surprise in the semifinals so far, as Morocco, probably one of the most underrated teams so far in the whole entire tournament, has advanced to being the first African nation in World Cup history to qualify to a semifinal round. It is none other than Morocco taking on France, taking on a massive contender. Morocco's journey up to here has not been an easy one either. They've taken on some major potential powers so far in the tournament as well. So people that we thought as well could potentially be winners of the title themselves. Some very good teams. First and foremost, they eliminated Belgium, the second best national team according to FIFA, the latest FIFA rankings. Eliminated Spain, eliminated Germany, and most recently also eliminated Portugal. It is the only national team who's only received one goal and one goal only. And it's unbelievable. That one goal came actually as an own goal in a match between Morocco and Canada. This is an unbelievable team by Morocco playing unbelievable football altogether. Massive surprise of the tournament. What else hasn't transpired? We've seen some major news breaking out of coaches leaving their post. We know Louis van Gaal has decided to leave the job with the Dutch. It was actually a decision already made before the tournament even started, with probably one of the worst replacements there is in history. It doesn't even matter who he's replacing as a coach. He's just a bad coach all himself. Ronald Koeman will be replacing Louis van Gaal, moving on onto the next World Cup if they make it on the next World Cup in 2026. However, the Netherlands, with a very promising team ahead for themselves, is majority of them in their mid-20s to early 30s. So we'll see probably another one or two more World Cups out of majority of that team. Jones, what other news do we got here as what has transpired in this World Cup so far?
I mean, that's where I was leaning towards before getting into the actual matches, was the amount of managers that have either resigned or have been sacked from their positions since the World Cup has started. I think by my list total, I think I have 7, maybe 8.
Well, so we have Louis Van Gaal. Let's count him out. That's one.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We got Luis Enrique, who decided to step down from the Spanish national job and decided to return to club football again. We know
Enrique already has a replacement as well.
his replacement is actually the U21's coach, Luis de la Fuente. It's his name. The biggest surprise, in my opinion, of the World Cup though so far is Tite deciding to leave the post with Brazil. That's number 3. Yep. Number 4 after that is the Mexican national soccer coach,
Gerardo Martino.
Gerardo Martino or Tata Martino, however you want to call him. That's number 4.
Roberto Martinez from Belgium.
Roberto Martinez decided to leave Belgium, which I cannot blame him. That Belgium locker room was probably more toxic than COVID-19 hit in the world. That's number 5. Then we got
come on now, you got this.
Not Germany, because Hansi Flick is staying. Fernando Santos is expected to be fired within the next couple of days, maybe even weeks.
Still waiting on that.
6.
Well, it's still waiting on that, not confirmed.
Okay, so that's 5.5.
So
okay.
You got Ghana's Otto Addo.
That's news to me.
Really?
Yeah, that's news to me. I didn't know that.
He confirmed he would leave his role after his side finished in the bottom of the group despite impressive performances.
So at 6, we also have Paolo Vento, who decided to leave Korea Republic. That's number 7. And then we had another one.
I think there's one more. The U.S. coach?
No. Berhalter has been resumed as coach for now. There is the potential that he will get replaced. It all depends on how everything goes in Copa America as the U.S. continues to discuss with CONMEBOL and CONCACAF again the participational rounds there, as they're already the host nations for the next World Cup too. So they want to be in a more competitive arena, fighting for Copa America as well.
Gustavo Alfaro is also out of a contract, so they're trying to potentially work to bring him back.
And who is Alfaro?
The Ecuadorian coach.
The Ecuadorian coach, okay.
Some of the names in trouble of potentially. We said Felix Sanchez, right? Already. The Qatar national coach.
No, but I mean, yeah, that's expected. I mean, where
Carlos,
will we see Qatar again in the World Cup, though? I don't know.
Yeah, Carlos Queiroz from Iran, potential. Rob Page from Wales, potential.
Well, Carlos Queiroz from Iran is presumed to want to return to club football again, potentially in an assistant management role, and could very well be the next Atletico Madrid assistant coach.
Could be. Diego Alonso from Uruguay is one.
Yeah.
Dragan Stojkovic from Serbia is one. And I think the last one is Hjulman from Denmark.
Correct. Yep. So all these guys with, and also Fernando Santos with the potential of getting their jobs taken away from them. So that's about 5 to 6 coaches in the hot seat. 8 coaches already leaving their posts. That's a lot of transition happening all around the world. We also know of players who unfortunately will not see potentially in the next World Cup, whose careers has ended in the international level. First and foremost, we know of Luis Suarez. His last appearance with the Uruguayan national team came down to probably a more karma-like ending. Ending in penalties and not being able to move through. Cristiano Ronaldo, the biggest surprise of the tournament. We all thought that Portugal had what it took this year to finally make its round to go there. Unfortunately, some really bad management calls there by Fernando Santos. A couple of really bad plays made by the Portuguese team themselves. Found themselves to be completely out of competition against a Moroccan team that showed nothing but determination and drive. There was nothing that you could take away from Morocco there. They fought all the way through the end. What would you like to say?
Sorry for our one of our top listeners, Sam. Portugal is not winning. I could have told you that before the World Cup started. No need to get your hopes up.
You can slice it and dice it in either which way. You could say they weren't winning, or you could say they would be winning. Because to be frankly honest with you, Portugal did have a very good team this year. The only problem that happened there is two things. Number one, for the game against Morocco, it's inexplicable to me as to why this guy still has a job, considering that your number one most historic player in current modern era is sitting on the bench in a crucial game when you know that this is probably his last World Cup overall, in one of the most crucial games in the World Cup. And you put him in the bench and let him come in with maybe about a half hour left to the game. That's number one. Number two, you leave two very good subs available on the bench to come in at the very last 10 to 15 minutes of the game, knowing damn well that you needed to bring them in at the beginning of the second half when you were already down 1-0. You had a full half to be able to tie that game and win that game, and you still wait until the last 10 or 15 minutes. Tactics, tactics, tactics. It's something we've been talking about all along throughout the whole World Cup. It's something that has continued to be a major issue for some of the teams that have had the potential to go a long way. Happened to the U.S., has happened to Morocco, to Portugal here. It's happened to the Netherlands as well. The Netherlands made some stupid, careless mistakes. Happened to Brazil. Another careless mistakes there. So I think for me personally, I was actually very hopeful that for Portugal, they would make it to the semifinal. I think that they had the potential to be in the top four nations of this year's tournament because they performed very well at the beginning of the tournament, and even through the round of 16. It was just the fact that in the quarterfinals, the tactics were just not there. How do you leave Ronaldo to come in by within 25 minutes left of the game? Rafael Leao, one of your best players so far in the tournament, you bring him in 15 minutes left of the game to hope to create some sort of distraction for the Moroccan defense. The guy created chances, but just were unable to capitalize because Portugal was in shambles. It was high stress for 10, 15 minutes left. Aorta, how do you bring him in towards the very end to replace a already exhausted somebody who gave it all in Diogo Dalot? That guy was already beyond exhausted. He was put in probably the most running out of anybody else in the Portuguese besides Bruno Fernandes for the whole entire team. Bruno Fernandes as well, making some major mistakes. You should have replaced them already, and you didn't. You kept Otavio in when he was fucking up big time all around. Gonzalo Ramos already was knocked and getting hurt like crazy through the first half. You still pushed him towards parts of the second half, knowing damn well that was going to come back and bite you in the ass. It was just really, really, really bad management altogether of Fernando Santos. And if I was the president of the Portuguese National Football League, I'd be letting him go immediately after that. I wouldn't even be waiting weeks to hear what his case is. It's just piss poor management. I don't care if it's a battle of egos. I don't care if it's a battle of respect. At this point, you realize that it's a national representation that you have there, and you need to put all that aside as professionals. But anyways, so we know Suarez, we know Ronaldo, we know of a couple others as well that could be making the last
let me
appearance as well.
Reiterate one more thing about not Portugal, but about tactics. It's talk about how key it is, and
it's everything right now. It's everything right now.
And I'm going to say it again. England is too talented not to have a major trophy right now.
Yeah,
Gareth Southgate needs to go. His tactics don't work. Whatever he had planned against France didn't work. And
that was well. Let's dive into that too, because I think we can have a very good conversation on this as well, because there are some arguments being made on social media, and on articles and on news. You're hearing sports pundits talk about it, which is how I know that it's happening in social media. there's all sorts of arguments being made. One is tactics, as what you mentioned. Two was the bad job done by the referee, which I agree. I watched the full game in its entirely. And I do agree that there were some major bad calls made by the ref. But three, it's almost like they're cursed. Nothing has changed from 1986 to 2002. Nothing has changed from 2002 up to right now either.
I beg to differ because the talent on this England team is 10 times better than what they had in the early part of the 2000s.
I mean, the talent has always, since 1986, the talent has always been available for England. Have they had some mediocre teams? Yes. But the talent has always been there. It's the tactics, it's not being able to handle the pressure. It's sometimes egos. And sometimes a stupid, gruesome battle for respect, not realizing that there is a bigger purpose behind that as well. And I agree with you. I think the tactics were for England this past weekend were brutal. I don't even know where to start.
Well, I think for starters, one thing, and I think now more than ever we really need to criticize him, is Harry Kane disappearing in these big moments for this England national team.
Unbelievable. I agree with that. Yep.
Time after time. Like since 2018. In a big spot, Harry Kane has either not shown up or has not been able to do what he needed to do. Missing that penalty the way they did, obviously, the thing with Harry Kane and the penalty is he shoots it from the same side every time. So why not just try to go bottom shelf, or even 65% of the penalties that have been kicked in this FIFA World Cup that have gone in have been straight down the middle.
Yeah.
Goalies are moving. Just kick it down the middle. That's all you need to do. It's absolutely crazy to me. I'm looking for. There was a timeline on how bad he's choked since the 2018 World Cup. Like he no-showed the Euro Championship against Italy. He had the 2-0 against. Oh fuck! Who did they play in the 2018 World Cup? He had a 2-0 where literally if he passes the ball, they score and they probably win that game. Instead, he takes a shot and it gets saved. Like it's been brutal for him in these key situations since 2018.
Yeah,
Once I find the timeline, man.
So here's another thing too that for me drove me absolutely ape shit crazy. And pardon my French, I'm just so angry for this England national team. There was so much potential for these guys to actually bring it home. That was one of the teams I actually thought for sure could go all the way to the finals. Could they bring it home? Maybe, maybe not. Could they actually go all the way to the finals? Absolutely. I was determined to see them in the finals. Here's the problem though. Harry Kane in that second penalty, there were so many other options that could have taken that penalty. You could have gone the John Stones route. You could have gone for a defender to fuck the mindset up of Hugo Lloris, because Hugo Lloris already plays in your same exact team. He's already known your tactics for penalties, dude. You got one already. You can't get two by the same exact guy that works out with you 365 days a year. It's just not gonna fucking work. So that you could have changed the mindset. You could have gone with a defensive player. Harry Stones would have been perfect. John Stones would have been perfect. I'm sorry. Mason Mount has just come into the game. That's a fresh body, fresh mentality, no stress whatsoever. That's somebody that could have taken that penalty. In the bench, you had Marcus Rashford, Jack Grealish sitting there. In the actual fucking field, you had Jude Bellingham available to take that penalty as well. You had Raheem Sterling to take that penalty as well. I don't know why in God's good name Harry Kane thought that he should be the sole person to take that second penalty, knowing damn well who he was facing. Knowing damn well of that. The second part to that as well is here is what Gareth Southgate absolutely failed England. You left Marcus Rashford and Jack Grealish and Raheem Sterling, three of your best players throughout the whole tournament, who, by the way, create a phenomenal front three for you, knowing damn well that you needed to start replacing the front three because they were already exhausted. Phil Foden was not the same at the minute 75 after a second excruciating half. Harry Kane was nowhere near in his mental capacities, and frankly, you kind of needed a new pair of fresh legs on the right wing. You just needed it. You didn't replace that. You instead come in and let Marcus Rashford come in with 8 minutes left of the game, hoping for a Hail Mary, and you let Jack Grealish come in within 2 minutes left in the game. Two of your best forwards in the whole tournament. Marcus Rashford making history for England in the tournament. And you leave your best options for the last minute? That to me is crazy and insane. Defensively, you're seeing your wingers already starting to struggle. Why couldn't you open up the game for more creativity? Maybe take out one of your wingers and bring in Kieran Trippier, somebody who can create opportunities in the flank, in either flank. Kyle Walker did a great job against Kylian Mbappe, but there was only so much that Kyle Walker could do against the whole entire offense. Because Oliver Giroud was having a great game. Even Adrian Rabiot was having a great game. He was getting involved. You needed creativity happening in all aspects of the game. And you just wasted all of that away. Instead, you brought in Mason Mount and gave him so much more opportunity than the two guys that you knew could have capitalized the game for you against a very forceful France. I don't get it. I don't get it. And the fact that this guy's still potentially with a job for England, that just tells me everything that there is to know in the future for England.
Yeah, it's just I wish I saved this timeline when I saw it on Twitter, man. It just puts into perspective how disappointing he's been in these past 4 years and these key moments for this England team. But England moving forward, man, I mean, if they go with someone besides Southgate, I think they have a realistic shot at winning the World Cup in 2026 in the States.
For England, the most important thing for England to happen is do not hire an English coach. Do not hire an English coach. Southgate has failed you. What was his name? The previous coach for Crystal Palace, Roy Hodgson has fucking failed you. Previous coaches before that had fucking failed you. Hire anything other than English at this point. You need new tactics, new mentalities, high pressing systems. You need controlling systems in place. You need better defending. You need creativity in the defense as well. English soccer coaches right now are just not going to be able to make it for you. Not one of them can make it happen for you.
No. Why don't we dive back into the World Cup, because we're just going to go on a rant about
I am just so angry for these two teams that have so much potential. It's ridiculous. We could have seen a complete different semifinal round here, and every single one of them fucked it up for themselves.
Either way, I think it's been great. I really like the semifinal matchups.
I do too.
So
I have my gripes, but I do too.
Well, obviously. Let's dive in. Let's dive in here. First one, Croatia and Argentina.
Yeah, man. I think actually the team to watch out here for is Croatia. It is a very good team that has been fighting no matter what kind of fight you bring onto them. Argentina has been notorious in the past 4 tournaments that they have gotten to the finals and even the semifinals to choke on 2 things: their emotions and their tactics. This is another game where tactics are going to come to play here. And I think Croatia will be the surprise of the tournament. I think Croatia actually beats Argentina 3-2. Another thing to notice too is that Croatian goalkeeper Lindanovic has been fantastic.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Not a
No,
single ounce of credit can be taken away from that dude. That is another guy you need to watch out for.
I agree. I have two scenarios happening here, and well, you're already gonna. I can finish 32 and 32. I think one of two things are gonna happen. Either Argentina wins a close game 2-1, or they
Mhm.
go into extra time. And if they go into extra time, it favors Croatia.
Yeah,
Croatia.
yeah,
Fun fact: Croatia did what Croatia's doing right now is giving me the same vibes as what they did in 2018.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm gonna say Argentina wins 2-1, but if it goes into extra times, Croatia wins, guaranteed.
I would
Argentina
agree.
2-1. All right, Morocco and France. This is David versus Goliath if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, yeah. I think I would. There's nothing more that I would love than an underdog story and seeing Morocco go all the way to the final. Do I think realistically that could happen right now, though, with the way that France is playing? I don't know. I think this actually comes down to penalties. And unfortunately for Morocco, the inexperience comes into play, and that's where France has a leg up. That's where I see France moving on. So I'm going with France in this one. I hate it because I want to see Morocco in the final, but I think inexperience will come into play.
So I think one of the big factors here you got to realize and remember is Morocco is going to be without a starter. He got second yellow card, which led to a red, which means he's missing the
Yeah,
next game.
yeah, yeah.
So that's a key. That's a key factor right there.
Mm-hmm.
However, smart would be France winning a close game 1-0. Morocco still plays them tough. So
Yeah.
I'll say France to win 1-0, but I'm rooting for Morocco.
I think we all are. I think all of us are rooting for Morocco. I think all of us want Morocco in the final. Um, I think Morocco has won the hearts of the whole world. They've been such an amazing
They're
underdog
the underdog
story
story.
with such humility displayed in every single match. It's impossible not to love them.
There's two things that I look into here. The first one is the sports book. The
Yeah.
sports book, if France were to win the World Cup, the sports book would take a gigantic hit.
Yeah.
If Argentina wins, it wouldn't be as bad, but it still wouldn't be very good. The sports book needs a Croatia Morocco final. That's what they need.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree.
One dude at the beginning of the tournament bet Morocco to win the whole thing.
That's all it takes. One guy to believe. It's all it takes, man. It's insane.
It was, dude. The odds were crazy, but there's also a guy that has like a 4 future parlay that if France wins the World Cup, he's gonna get like over $500,000. And like Bleacher Report betting has literally been with him every single game in the World Cup. So I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Um, my heart says give me Morocco and Argentina, but again, here's another thing. If you're a historian and you look at Lionel Messi's career, and he were to win his first World Cup, would you want it to be against a team like Morocco, or would you want it to be against a team like France to
No, I don't.
solidify legacy?
Yeah, I want them all the way through something as tough as nails like France.
So this
Not
is
to
where
discredit Morocco, but France has just far more talent displayed through its roster.
it's just it for me. It makes sense if Argentina wins against Croatia. It just makes sense that they try to take the easy way out and give them Morocco.
Mm-hmm. Plus, I mean, you also got to look at it from the perspective of present versus future. The future right now for soccer, for football, is Kylian Mbappe. The
Mm-hmm.
present in football right now is Lionel Messi available.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting weird vibes on these two games here, but
It's
let's see
electric.
what happens.
It's absolutely electric. I don't think any of us expected these semifinals to be the way that they are right now. I think a lot of people expected by the same 4 teams: Argentina, Brazil, England
Portugal,
or
France.
France, Portugal or Spain. Um, it's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. We see Croatia and Morocco sneaking in here, and it's just fantastic to see these people go in there. Absolutely fantastic. Let's also talk about some fantastic things that we've seen so far. We've seen some players rise up to the occasion, some players who have had a really bad spell throughout club football, but they were able to gain their confidence back up through this whole entire tournament. When it comes to January transfer window, 5 players that you think will absolutely be snagged as soon as this World Cup ends.
Jeez. Cody Gapko from the Dutch is definitely one.
Yep, already agree with one. Yep.
He's been unreal. Jude Bellingham, 2. His price is going to soar, and this is why Dortmund waited, because they knew he'd have a good World Cup. So his price is going to go through the roof, and some team in the English Premier League is going to very much so pay that price.
Well, Manchester United's already decided to step out of the competition, so that leaves down to Liverpool versus Real Madrid.
Don't count out Man City, bro. Don't count out Man City.
I think Man City has another target, but
just I'm telling you just don't count on Man City. That's all I'm gonna say.
No. I'm not counting them out.
I know.
I just think their eyes on a different pulse.
Who else? Trying to think here.
I can name you another 2. So I agree with Cody Gakpo. Absolutely. I agree with Jude Bellingham. Josh Guardiola from the Croatian national team, the defender. There's a lot of teams right now looking for a center defensive player.
I drew a blank on his name, but I know exactly.
He would be phenomenal for that opportunity. Enzo Fernandez, the Mexican center defensive mid. He's been fantastic with Ajax. He was fantastic with
Argentinian.
Enzo Hernandez.
Yeah,
he's Mexican, as far as I understood. Let me look it up. Let me look it up real quick.
Who's the one that Liverpool's tied with on Argentina?
I believe he's Mexican, but if you think he's Argentinian, let's go with Argentinian. If I can just spell correctly.
That's what I'm asking.
Oh, I see the confusion because there's 2 Enzos. So there's Enzo Fernandez, the 21-year-old with Benfica, who is linked to Liverpool after the World Cup. And there is Enzo Hernandez.
Oh, see, I thought I heard F.
Who is also another sort of player currently playing for Ajax and doing phenomenal. Another guy that didn't have wanted at Manchester United, but it's not going to happen. We don't need him. And I think last but not least, I mean, it's impossible not to say his name. Marcus Rashford could be on the switching roles. I mean, PSG already has looked at him with their eyes on the money, and they have the money to pay for him. They will be happy to dish out the capital for it. I think at this point it's more of a selling strategy between Ten Hag and ownership to convince Marcus Rashford to stay in Manchester United. Because I do think that if the guy is to leave for PSG could finally have the one player that they can count on to bring the Champions League title to Parc des Princes.
Yeah. I think the counterpoint on why Manchester United would do that is because I think that they view him as someone that can give them a lot of money and a lot of room, and they can get some guys to come in with that type of money.
Yeah.
So think of it like this. Marcus Rashford, cool. Up front, I feel like you guys are set. What do you guys really need? Midfield help.
No, up front we're not. Up front we're not set. We're not. We have Marcus Rashford. Yeah, that's great, but we can't rely on alternatives like Anthony Martial, maybe even Alejandro Garnacho. We can't rely on that.
You don't rely on Anthony.
Anthony's more of a winger. I don't think we're all set. I think we're 2 strikers away from it.
Well,
I think we definitely need.
so.
I think we
This
definitely need Cody Gakpo in our
my
offense.
in my head, he's already a Manchester United Red Devil. That's
I
why.
I I
That's
don't
why.
think so. I don't think so. I actually think Real Madrid will snag him away from us
Well, here's the thing.
because
Think of it
Real
like
Madrid also needs the replacement for Karim Benzema, and
Mhm.
Gakpo provides that opportunity in
Yep.
his youth.
Think of this, and this is where I think of this. Manchester United midfield is something that needs help.
Yeah, but there's other players that need to go.
I agree.
You need
But
to figure out
but
what to do with the contract with
but
somebody like Van de Beek. That was a
but
stupid expense.
but just hear me out here. One of the reasons why they sell Marcus Rashford is to solidify their midfield. And to solidify their midfield, who is the one name that has been linked to them for months and months and months?
I can't think of it right now.
It's Declan Rice.
Yeah, but I mean that's a replacement for Casemiro. Those are pieces.
It's the Manchester United way. They
It's
do
pieces
that,
for
and then
it's
they
pieces
get
for
another
replacement,
striker.
but it's nothing futuristic. I think it, with the Ten Hag mindset that he's brought in now of setting
I
up for the
think.
future. I think we need younger players.
I think. Well, now hear me out here. You get Marcus Rashford. Cool. Move him on. You bring in Declan Rice. Okay, I still need another piece. You know who fits that piece up front? He's currently playing in the World Cup.
I
He's a
mean, yeah,
striker.
yeah, Oliver Giroud or Kylian Mbappe,
Nope.
yeah,
Nope.
Hakim Ziyech,
Lorato Martinez.
Lautaro. He's been rumored so many times for Manchester United that I think at this point the only way that we can get him to come through is if somebody like Lisandro Martinez steps into the negotiation table and convinces him that Manchester United is the team to come through. Do I see that happen? Not quite. I think Ten Hag was very smart when he made the moves that he made, that were very necessary and have been paying off for Manchester United. I mean, you look at the Lisandro Martinez signing, that has been phenomenal. Lisandro has been one of the best defenders so far in the tournament as well. You look at Anthony. Anthony was one of the best right wing options for Brazil. He kept his cool composed, and actually against Croatia, that was the one player that all the Croatians were targeting. If he was able to get 5 feet of running in that pitch, that guy could have ruined the whole opportunity for Croatia to be in the semifinals himself. Casemiro and Fred. Casemiro was phenomenal in the World Cup. He scored one of the most beautiful goals in the World Cup too. Fred was reliable for them when they needed them. Then you look at other pieces as well. Ten Hag has been essential in the reflourishment of Marcus Rashford. Rashford was by far one of the best players right now in the tournament. That's why he's got the eyes that he's getting right now. I think all throughout right now, Ten Hag is doing the right thing for Manchester United. It's just more of the factor of we have to be smart and we have to be on the ball when it comes to these signings, because it's just not going to happen. We can't lowball anybody.
I'm sorry. I just one of the I was looking at stuff on my phone for the podcast, and one of the things that popped up was coaches to replace Garrett Southgate. And who can you name the first name on that list?
Thomas Tuchel.
Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah.
Can you name another name on that list?
Zinedine Zidane.
Nope. Mauricio Pochettino.
Why are people so mid? Why are people so mid?
Eddie Howe was on there.
Pochettino would be a great option for a team that needs development, like the USA.
Oh man, it's just
Hold on. Like if Pochettino was to become the U.S. men's national soccer team coach, I'd be all for it because they need a lot of development. And that's a guy that can do that.
Think of this. If you're the England national team right now, would you rather Gareth Southgate or Thomas Tuchel?
Oh, Thomas Tuchel.
Okay, just making sure.
That's what me being blind, deaf, and mute.
All right, just putting it out there. Okay, that's all I had to bring to the table. After that, now I'm good. I'm all set. I'm content. It was great. It was a great read. Actually, you know who wouldn't be a bad one for the English national team, or even just any national team?
What's that?
It's Marcelo Bielsa.
I think he would be phenomenal for an underdog team. Canada, he would be good for Canada. He would be good for.
He would be good for like let's put into perspective here. He would
Costa
be good
Rica,
for like I'm trying to think. He would, you know, what he would be good for in a team like Colombia. He like on that tier. That's what he would be good for.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I will love him in Colombia. I just don't see Colombia going for him.
Just that tier. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that.
Another person that, well, I mean, here's the good thing about the U.S. men's national team. And it's a project that's starting to draw a lot of interest, as one would say. If Pep Guardiola was to leave club football, I think Pep Guardiola would take on a project like the U.S. men's national team. If the right money was placed and the project is allowed to be developed by him, Pep Guardiola takes the job, without a doubt.
No. You know where Pep Guardiola takes the job? And honestly, Pep Guardiola could take this job, depending on how it all plays out.
I actually think Pep Guardiola could be the next Brazilian national team.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but I'm thinking of another team that starts with a B. Disappointing tournament.
Belgium?
Their coach is going back into club. Belgium.
Yeah. Yeah.
He would be a good Belgium national coach.
Actually, you know who I actually think would be the next Belgium national team coach? Jurgen Klopp.
Don't do that to me.
I think he's the next Belgium national soccer team coach.
Don't do that to me.
And Ricardo Martinez becomes the new Roberto Martinez.
This just in, and you just, dude, it just, like, I don't know why this name popped in my head, but imagine a guy like Jose Mourinho as the national team coach or somebody.
I wouldn't put it past him. I really wouldn't. Mourinho could also be the next Brazilian. Actually, no. Mourinho could be the next Portuguese team coach.
Yeah, it could.
Put that on the wall. As Antonio Brown would say, put the shit on. I hate the motherfucker, but I think it's catchy.
Now, see, this podcast has gone off the rails because now we're just thinking of long-term hypotheticals, coach managers that would be fucking good at the international level. Can't do that. But yeah, no, this is the last podcast for us of the World Cup. And the World Cup's done.
Yeah.
We only have to wait 3.5 more years because it started in November.
It's been crazy. It's been an absolutely crazy roller coaster. A lot of surprises, a lot of emotions, but it's exactly what you want in a World Cup tournament. So for now, and for the rest of the week, thank you all so much for having tuned in to episode 8 of the Yellow Card Podcast, season 2. Make sure that if you're not following us just yet, make sure you find us on Twitter at Podcast Card. That's where you can follow us on social media. You can also find us on TikTok at Yellow Card Pod. Check out all the content being dropped by either my host, Chris Jones, or myself every now and then on YouTube and on Spotify as well. Make sure that you Google or search us as Yellow Card Podcast Boston. Until then, signing off. Everybody have a great week and enjoy this next few World Cup matches. See y'all.